Hello and welcome to my program. Today I have Bonnie Brose, who has been a patient of mine for several years, and she is going to talk to us a little bit about hormones. I get a lot of questions about how old is too old to be on hormones. And I think if I interview some of my seniors, it may make it a little more relatable for people to just be interested in the subject and sort of feel more comfortable with it. So, Bonnie, thank you so much for stopping by.
Weekend's going fine. Busy as usual.
Right. So, I appreciate you taking the time out to talk with us. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am a retired school teacher. I am not a native Marylander. I started out in Pennsylvania. I have one terrific husband and one very interesting child, and some stepchildren.
Okay. And how long have you been retired?
25, 26 years.
And is that when you started taking hormones?
Shortly after that.
So, how many years would you say you've been on hormones?
Actually, I must have retired more than 28 years ago because I've been on hormones 28.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, about 28 years. And I found you after I retired.
Ah. So, what do you think hormones do for you?
Well, other than the hot flashes that we talked about the other day that I have never had and I don't want, I firmly believe that it helps your skin, your muscles. It keeps you tuned into where things aren't falling apart quite as much.
Well, you look great. And you are how old now?
I will be 79 in December.
Great. Do you plan on stop taking hormones or are you planning to stay on them indefinitely?
I will stay on them as long as I can.
And the reasons for that would be the ones you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. I've enjoyed looking after you for what looks like about 20 odd years now. And you have done great. You always tell me that when you go for your school reunions, you look around and say, who are all these old people?
Yeah, I do.
So, do you have any words of advice for women who might need hormones, but they're scared of them or they don't want to take the time to learn about them?
I think part of it is they don't know the difference between what you do and what those little box of pills that they give everybody for hormones that is the same for everybody. And when you check my blood work every 6 months or so and compare that to what's going on before and tweak it so that it's for me, it's that compounding kind of thing that lets me know I'm not getting too much of something because I don't need it, or not enough of something else because it's not part of the regular program. And that appeals to me.
So, what Bonnie is actually referring to are bioidentical hormones. And these are the only kind of hormones that I use for anyone of any age. And bioidentical hormones are basically body equivalent or body identical to what women make in their younger years prior to menopause. I'm assuming when you talk about a box with little pills, you're talking about things like oral contraceptives and Prempro and Premarin and synthetic hormones that are actually not related to anything natural in the body at all. So that's the big
And I've never
difference.
taken them because I think that what you're doing is healthier for me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, Bonnie, thank you so much. I promised you I'd make it quick and short, but I really appreciate you taking time out on your weekend to talk with me, and hopefully, this will help other people.
Well, thank you. It was fun to talk to you.
Thank you so much. Hello, are you interested in hormone replacement? That would be estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, DHEA, and pregnenolone. If you are a woman, you probably become more interested in hormones after the age of 38. And if you are a man, you generally are more interested in hormones after 45. But whatever the case, if you would like to learn more about hormones, please read my book. My latest edition is called Sex, Sanity and Sleep. And I put this out last year. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the book because it's really important that people educate themselves about hormone replacement. And because of all the rumors and disinformation, misinformation, fake news, etc., there's a lot of confusion about it. So in my book, I talk about fear, the fear of the unknown. For example, you get in your car in the morning. Do you know for sure that you're going to arrive where you're driving to? Do you know who's coming around the corner? But you still get in your car and drive to work because it's something you need to do. And you cannot live in fear. So the same thing applies with hormones. A lot of it is misunderstanding or fear of hormones. And yet hormones are the things that drive us, that manage every single organ in the body. So in my book, I talk about fear, but then I go on and I define what menopause, perimenopause, postmenopause, all these terms that we hear, and the male menopause, which is called andropause. I also talk about the role of hormones in women and the symptoms of hormone imbalance, and also a lot about the sexual issues and the lack of sleep. But I also talk about how you treat menopause, and I give you the scientific research on hormone replacement. So let's look at some of the symptoms, because if you are having any of these symptoms, you may just want to read my book. So in general, you can get weight gain, hot flashes, lack of motivation, fatigue. Insomnia is a very common one. You may get an underactive thyroid, low energy, excess sweating, and the good old hot flashes, and vaginal dryness. From a mental health point of view, you may have panic attacks, anxiety, depression, a decreased sense of self-worth, and you can also get mood swings. Neurologically, you get brain fog, memory not so good. Temperature is dysregulated, and that's what causes the hot flashes. You may feel off balance, or you may have vertigo. You may have lightheadedness, changes in your vision, and exacerbation of multiple sclerosis. In the gastrointestinal tract, you may have a change in bowel habits. Of course, you have an increased risk of colon cancer, gas pains, bloating, bouts of bloating where the waistline increases a couple of inches, particularly after eating, and indigestion. You may get new allergies and sensitivities. You may develop hives. And then there's pain, migraine headaches, arthritis, back pain. A lot of people say that all their aches and pains seem to disappear when they start hormone replacement. From a cardiovascular standpoint, you may get palpitations, irregular heartbeats, high cholesterol, elevated blood pressure. And the urinary system also is affected. Recurrent bladder infections, inflammation of the bladder, frequent urination, leaking, and incontinence, and on and on and on. Musculoskeletal, dermatological, connective tissue, every symptom that you can imagine comes from the effect of hormones on all the different organ systems. So, if you want to read more about it, it's in my book, Sex, Sanity and Sleep, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. But it's a great, great thing to do for yourself. I believe that every woman who does not have a medical contraindication to it should be on hormone therapy. So I'm going to interview various patients of mine, and you can listen to real life stories. But in the meantime, I wanted to tell you about my book. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.